The Kampala-Entebbe 51-kilometer expressway meanders across the swamp-fringed green landscape. It's breathtaking to drive across the vast stretch of grasslands, the well-manicured golf lawn at Serena Hotel, and see the sun poke the shores of Lake Victoria. Commissioned by China's former Deputy Premier Wang Yang last year, the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway was conceived in the early 2000s to, among others, ensure better connectivity between Kampala and Entebbe and to loosen traffic from the old road. "15 months since it was opened to public motorized traffic, the road is seemingly yet to serve its purpose, and yet it cost a whopping 1.7 trillion shillings or $479 million, 3/4 of the money borrowed from China's Exim Bank. Another 200 billion shillings was doled out on land compensation, which was rife with excessive corruption, as detailed by the Justice Catherine Bamugemerere of inquiry. The expressway, designed and constructed as a toll road, has 3 gates at Busega, Kajansi and Abaita, which are supposed to be payment points. However, none of the toll gates is operational, yet a bigger chunk of the loan is supposed to be paid back from the fee collections. Mark Sally, the UNRA spokesperson, says initially there was no policy framework for tolling.
By the time of the commissioning, we were not ready to do tolls from two fronts. One, which was the most important one, was of course that we did not have the legal framework in which to do that. The law hadn't been passed. The bill was still in Parliament and was still being discussed. That process has since been finished, and the bill has been passed by Parliament. That's the roads bill. It has a section on toll, of course, which would then give us the legal framework under which to operate, to collect money from the road users. Now, what we're waiting for as far as the bill is concerned is for it to be assented into law. And that is once His Excellency the President signed.
Sally revealed that they are also working on streamlining the toll system.
As we were waiting for the law to be enacted, we were also working on the procurement of an operation and maintenance contractor who would be able to come and handle the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. We call him an O&M. Now, this operator is supposed to collect the tolls. He is supposed to do maintenance of the road. Now, the procurement process is ongoing, and we are projecting, our projections are such that by January, we will be in full throttle. We will be now being able to operate the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway as a proper toll road.
As government commences servicing the loan, there are fears that this project was too costly. At 1.7 trillion shillings or $479 million, the Auditor General John Mwanga detailed in his 2015 report that this translated into 33 billion shillings or $9.3 million per kilometer, making the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway not only the most expensive road built in Uganda, but also in the region. The audit report detailed that the same contractor, China Construction Communication Company, had constructed a similar but longer and better expressway in Ethiopia at a lower cost compared to what they quoted in Uganda. Part of the problem was that the report indicated, and UNRA officials have likewise admitted, that they single-sourced the contractor.
A proposal to help government solve this impasse. That's why they came up with an idea to come with that unsolicited proposal. But let them come and invest in studying how government can solve this problem.
Things are done differently, not, smearing around and say, is there something here?
Unsolicited bids present a challenge because you don't have the benefit of who else can provide the same service more efficiently or more cost effectively. So it is a challenge.
To date, little explanation has been offered on how the price of a staggering 1.7 trillion shillings was arrived at, or how China Construction Communication Company got involved with the project, subsequently scouting for funding. Government has started paying back the loan during this financial year, which commenced in July. At least $350 million or 1.2 trillion shillings has been budgeted for this item. Finance Minister Matia Kaseija says the plan was to start paying back the loan in 2019, whether the road is being used or not.
In the planning for the project and how it would function thereafter was not synchronized, because we just woke up, somebody woke up to say, hey, the law is not in place. The law should have been put very many years back, but that unfortunately that did not happen. But now that one we are processing soon. The Minister of Works has really taken this matter up very seriously. Soon we'll be able to begin to collect.
According to the repayment plan, the loan will be paid back over a 13-year period between 2019 and 2032. Government will each financial year going forward pay back $26.8 million or 97 billion shillings split into a 6-month period. So why is government paying back the loan for the road from the budget instead of the road paying for itself as it was assumed? This is how Kaseja responded.
The money will come, but over a long period of time. Not all of it will come as we pay back the loan, but definitely we shall collect money. The status are there. The number of vehicles. That's why I'm really, me as a man in charge of the treasury, as you said, I'm saddened that we are now losing revenue that we would have been collecting. And I've had a discussion with the Minister for Works, and she has really moved. It is going to start very soon. But we'll have lost that portion of the revenue.
Some experts have called the Kampala-Jinja Expressway a project sprinkled with stardust to gain fleeting success. Today, taxpayers have to foot the bill. There are fears that this debt will continue to grow if government handles the proposed Kampala-Jinja Expressway in the same manner. For the last 5 years, the Kampala-Jinja Expressway project, expected to cost $1.1 billion or 3.67 trillion shillings, was fast-tracked as a public-private partnership. According to the PPP deal, the private developer would raise between $600 and $700 million or 2.1 and 2.5 trillion shillings as a mixture of debt and equity. This would be supported by development partners including the European Union, African Development Bank, and the French Overseas Development Agency, committing $400 million or 1.4 trillion shillings as a viability gap funding. The viability gap funding is an economic instrument used in public-private partnerships that helps the private investor from likely losses over a period of time. The proposed toll Kampala-Jinja Expressway is about 95 kilometers, but according to projections, the road is only economical between Kampala and Namagunga in Mukono district. The road will stretch from Lugogo to Kyambogo, from where it will be diverted to Chinawataka with 2 sections, a new alignment en route to Jinja, and the Kampala Southern Bypass link connecting to the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. Jet Tumweba's a commercial lawyer, says public-private partnerships are an ideal model to finance infrastructure projects.
Our intention is you put in money today, you either under the PPA arrangement you recoup your money or government pays later. So it's very critical. And in Uganda, the PPA arrangement is of course governed by the PPP Act 2015, and right now the road that is being worked on under the arrangement, the first one I think is the Entebbe, the Kampala-Jinja Expressway that is at that stage. How it actually works, of course it's governed by that law, but how it actually works is that a government department will identify where it needs something that needs to be done, some development. Then it would submit that need. You identify a need and submit that need to the PPU unit. The PPPU unit. There is a unit in Ministry of Finance.
However, since procurement for the multi-billion-dollar project started last year in September, a Chinese firm emerged from the shadows and has been lobbying fiercely to be awarded the tender. The China Railway 17th Bureau Group company, through its contacts, managed to secure a meeting with the president at his country home in Rwachitura, December last year, during which they expressed interest to take on the project. Earlier on this week on Tuesday, it emerged that the president invited the company for a private meeting to discuss the project. Whereas the details of the meeting are yet to be disclosed, Finance Minister Kasaija told NTV the Chinese company wants to take on the job.
He wants the job, of course.
But there's a procurement which is ongoing.
Yes, that's very true. We are studying. We are studying. Supposing we change it and said you Chinese take it, what would be the implications? We are studying that issue. I cannot now give you an reply because we are still studying. Okay. When we finish, you will hear.
It has also emerged that the Chinese company, through its subsidiary, had earlier on placed a bid for the project but was disqualified during the earlier stages of bidding. If a government awards the contract to the Chinese firm, there are fears that this could result into a protracted and costly litigation process.
Procurement has its own problems. A lot of government projects have been delayed because procurement has not been handled properly. And then parties end up in court, they get injunctions to stop roads from progressing, and ultimately the project suffers a setback or delays, or some of them never start. And it is in our interest, all Ugandans, that the procurement, first of all, is handled very well by government, so that it doesn't affect the start of the project. The project is very good.
According to World Bank forecasts, Jinja Road, just like Entebbe Road, have the highest traffic volumes, with about 120,000 passengers and 105,000 passengers daily, respectively. If government does not enforce transparency and rules of fair play in the bidding process, the proposed Kampala-Jinja Expressway could turn into another costly venture that has to be shouldered by the taxpayer.